Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We're going to talk Browns and NFL football, Cavs and NBA basketball, and some NBA news and NFL news as well. We'll talk Tribe and some Major League Baseball news, and a little bit of NHL. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. In what year was the Nerf football created? I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Turning to Browns news, not many fans would argue the Cleveland Browns have their most talented roster since they returned to the league in 1999. They have a legitimate 6 to 7 Pro Bowl caliber players with an additional 2 or 3 All-Pro talents. The having talent is great, but it does not automatically translate into wins. The 2019 Browns are the perfect example of that after a strong rookie showing in 2018 by Baker Mayfield. Fans expected huge things from the offense in 2019 with the addition of Odell Beckham. Unfortunately, the season would end with only 6 wins and a mediocre offense. Obviously, the win total was a huge disappointment, but the regression of Mayfield and the entire offense was even more disappointing. Mayfield was consistently under pressure at times, looked like he had no clue what the defense was doing. Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett were the only bright spots on the roster. Until the Garrett suspension, that was supposed to be filled with stars. Owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam have set out to make the right hires once again. They laid out the foundation with a tremendous first-year coach in Kevin Stefanski, and then hired general manager Andrew Berry. Those two paired up with Paul DePaesta, create a front office that is fully aligned for the first time. Analytical approach to the game, but also not afraid to spend money on a player who fits perfectly in their scheme. For the first time, it feels like the Browns have made the right moves. I will admit, when John Dorsey first hired, Freddie Kitchens as the head coach, I was excited, but looking back, fans shouldn't be shocked. Quarterback's coach just one season ago wasn't able to handle head coaching and play calling duties in the NFL. Kitchens was a great guy, but didn't have the tools necessary to even the respect of an NFL locker room. While the Browns will be greatly improved in 2020, we will make the playoffs. It is not yet their time to win an AFC title in the AFC North. Here are 3 reasons to support that thinking. And I agree wholeheartedly on that. Here's one of the 3: shaking the losing culture. As a diehard Browns fan since 1999, it pains me to say that the team has a losing culture. But when you only have 2 winning seasons in 21 years, there's definitely a problem, and that is the truth right there. That sums it up. For so many years, it felt like the Browns just couldn't close games. For example, in 2018, when the Browns made a little run, they lost games to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Oakland Raiders that took effort to lose. You turn a 7-8-1 into a 9-6-1, and you have a playoff team. Digging into the past won't help, as all teams have lost games because of referees, but it feels like most of the Browns' damage are self-inflicted wounds, and if they could just get out of their own way, they would give themselves a chance. Not only have the Browns struggled, to achieve wins, but they have also continued to fire their coaches who never got a shot to win. 11 coaches in 21 seasons. It is not a recipe for success. From 2009 until 2016, the Browns didn't have a coach who lasted more than 2 seasons. Obviously, you need a good head coach to win, but consistently also is a big part of success. But continuity is also a big part of success, Not only are the players stressed from beginning a new system, every single season the coaches and players and front office, are stressed for their jobs as well. The stress of winning becomes all they worry about because they know they will be fired without instant success. While Stefanski and Barry are more than compatible of the rebuild, Cleveland is in need of. There will be at least one season with a few growing pains. And it doesn't mean that they can't win 8 or 9 games, but likely keep them from competing for a division title in 2020. And I can definitely agree with that. Now the second one is too many new faces. The Browns roster is a likely top 10 in the NFL right now on paper, but the talent must mesh on the field before it can be effective. The COVID-19 will do the team no favors with limited face-to-face time before the season. Yes, virtual training is great, but for some of the young players expected to start in 2020, it will be a real challenge. While the roster is talented, keep in mind there will be 4 new starters on offense and 5 new major contributors on the defense. Not only are there a lot of new faces, but all the players who were here in 2019 will also be learning new offensive and defensive systems. Jedrick Willis, offensive tackle. Jacob Phillips, linebacker. Grant Delpit, safety, are those guys that could easily be opening day starters. All were drafted in the first 3 rounds of the 2020 draft, but there will be some adjusting to game speed that just can't happen in practice. Sahon Takiataki is a second-year player who saw very little action in 2019, but will likely be asked to step it up in a big way at linebacker next season. The secondary will be the biggest concern to start the season. It is talented with Delpit, Carl Joseph, and Andrew Sonijo, but none of these guys were with the Browns in 2020. Communication is a key in the secondary, and it will take time to develop. Without a doubt, in the first few weeks of the season, you can expect a busted coverage here or there. Let's hope that the pass rush is enough to help not give up on a big play out of it. This is excitement for each one of the new faces, but it will take time for them to mesh as a group with a shortened off season and preseason program, this will be even more difficult to establish before the 2020 season starts. By the end of the year, the team will be clicking on all cylinders, but it could take time in the beginning, as will be another season the Browns won't win the AFC North in 2020, and I feel that is not on the cards for them as of yet. And the third and final reason, and I will tell you this right now, is the Baltimore Ravens. The biggest reason the Baltimore Ravens won't be ready to compete for the biggest reason the Browns won't be ready to compete for an AFC North title in 2020 is the Baltimore Ravens. After a disappointing end to 2019 with a divisional round loss at home to the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs, the Ravens will have a major chip on their shoulder. This is a very little argument. They are a top 3 team in the entire NFL and will be competing for a Super Bowl once again in 2020. Not only that, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals also will not be easy wins within the division. The Steelers have a top 5 defense and should be able to score points with Ben Roethlisberger back from injury. The Battle of Ohio between the Browns and Bengals always stays evenly matched, even when the Browns were bad and the Bengals were going to make the playoffs. The games always manage to stay competitive. If the Browns live up to expectations, there is an argument the AFC North could be the toughest division in the NFL, but certainly in the AFC. The Browns will be lucky to split each series with the Ravens and Steelers, and must beat the Bengals twice to have a shot at the playoffs. There is no doubt the Browns and Ravens will be the toughest competitor in the league, but Browns fans, there is some good news. Getting the Ravens on the road in Week 1 is a tough break, but they may catch the team sleeping before they get in their groove. No doubt it will be a tough win, but it may be better than catching them in Week 4 and fully in sync. Also, the Browns' home game against the Ravens is a Monday night game. The stadium will be rocking and could give the Browns a huge advantage. I want to always stay positive with the Browns, but a division title just doesn't appear to be in the cards for 2020, as I have mentioned. They play the game for a reason, but a second-round matchup versus the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens will be difficult to win on the road, and I agree with that. But I would like to see us beat the Ravens, Steelers, and the Bengals twice. If we could do that, that would be big for us in our division. We'll see what happens, and we're looking forward, because they do say the Browns that the NFL season is going to start up on time, and the training camp is still virtual, but they hopefully will be back in session come July. Moving on to NFL news, but I am starting to run out of time for this first segment, so this will be a 2-part podcast. So what I'm going to do is upload this video, so I'll be back with the second half of this 2-part podcast right after this.